Welcome into BoardCheck. I'm your host, Jeremy the MPEG York. This is period number 1. Kind of change things up a little bit, give a little more of the throwback there. We'll get a little more into that here just in a little bit. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Atlanta Gladiators. We're going to talk about the Boston Bruins in period number 3. Period number 2, we go over some NHL stuff, including some big win streaks and a problem with the Bruins that I really think needs to be addressed, and I wanted the platform there where we could talk about scores and such. Period number 3. But that means period number 1, we're going to start off with the Manchester Monarchs, who last Tuesday lost 4-3 to the Wheeling Nailers, where Kopitar, Pinkston, Lavallee, Smotherman were all the goal scorers in that one in the losing effort. On Wednesday, they won the game 4-2 over the Reading Royals, where Ward Pinkston, who that's 2 on the year for him, Doherty and Ciampini all scored. Mr. Emu, as I will call him, had 31 saves. He actually had an assist as well. That could be his first career assist. Need to check on that. And then Friday, they pulled home the victory. That's always good to go 2-1 for the week. 5-4 over the Elmira Jackals. Somebody's heart that isn't on fire is the Elmira Jackals right now with that loss. Ciampini netted 3. He had the amazing hat trick. Lavallee Smotherman, who just continues to torture me having to say his name, but I'm glad he's scoring. And who had the other one? Oh, Morris had the other one. That's right. In the winning effort, Mr. Pertain had 22 overall saves. The dude's really good. Start calling him the British Navy or something like that. That dude, fantastic. Upcoming schedule for them, of course, this Saturday they will be against the Norfolk Admirals. That will be in Manchester, New Hampshire. That is a 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start. Now, let's move on to their affiliate. We all know who their affiliate is. That'd be the LA Kings. Now, last Tuesday, they lost in a shootout, 3-2 in Columbus versus the Blue Jackets. We'll talk about the Blue Jackets coming up, remember, where Carter scored both goals. It's going to be a theme. I'm going to just go ahead and do this. You're going to figure out why in a minute. So Carter has 2. Thursday in the win, 4-0 in Nashville, where Shore, Dowd, Carter, and who am I missing? Oh, there it is. Setaguchi had goals in that one. Pudu Budai had 28 saves and the shutout, obviously. On Friday, they lost in overtime 3-2 to the Dallas Stars in Dallas, where Carter had not 1, but 2 goals in that one. He had the only 2 goals in 2 of those 4 games there, or 2 of those 3 games. So, in 3 games last week, he had 5 goals. Wow. Dude's on fire. He is like the Pasternak of the LA Kings. Unbelievable what Jeff Carter's doing. The former Monarch. So we give a shout out to them as well. Upcoming schedule for your LA Kings this Wednesday, which would be just later on tonight. They will be in Vancouver. 10 p.m. start on that one. Tomorrow, of course, being Thursday, they will be in Edmonton to round out all the Canadian teams. That's a 9 p.m. start. And Saturday against the San Jose Sharks, that's a 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start. Anytime the Kings and Sharks get together, we know it's fireworks. So that's going to be a fantastic game. In fact, I want to check out that game right before New Year's. It'll be a great game. Some news and notes on the LA Kings. Tyler Toffoli will be out at least a few more weeks, more than likely. He is not traveling with the team, and it'll be at least a week before he will be rechecked for his condition, for his injury rather. I told you about Carter was named second star of the week from the NHL. I don't know why he wasn't first. If you get 5 goals in 3 games and the best they give you is second place, hey, better than not being on the board at all. Congratulations, Jeff Carter, on that one. Now, overall, they are 5th place in the Pacific, which puts them in 8th place for the West. Now, they actually only have 2 less points than the Boston Bruins that we're going to talk about a little later, which is kind of interesting. But the Pacific has been beating up on each other, and a few of the teams, including the Sharks, have started to go on another run. It's all right. We'll let that run kind of smooth itself on out. and then we'll go on about our day. Now, obviously, I'm wearing the Minnesota Wild shirt today. I'm doing that because of their amazing effort here lately. Just wanted to give a proper shout out. As a fan of hockey, I'm a fan of the game, just like you guys are. Even though it's not one of the teams we talk about on here, I wanted to give a proper shout out to them and the amazing things they're doing, including that win they had just last night in Nashville. But when we come back from the break, it'll be period number 2, where we're going to talk some NHL issues. Like I said, we'll talk about the glaring weakness for the Boston Bruins, at least in my opinion, and we'll also talk about both winning streaks, including that team right there. Jeremy the Impact York, we'll see you on the other side of the break for period number 2 on BoardCheck. And welcome back to BoardCheck. Of course, Jeremy the Impact York. We're here for period number 2, where we're going to talk a little bit about some NHL stuff. Obviously, I'm going to go over a little bit more of the Bruins stuff here in the third period, but I'm going to start right off there with a NHL issue that I want to talk about, and that is the fact that Boston, they're kind of having scoring woes right now. I mean, if not for Marchand, Pasternak, who's been banged up, and Backus, I mean, the goal scoring is kind of spread out a little more, but we don't have anybody that seems to be able to just pick up the slack when it needs to be, and that's something we're really going to have to work on. I don't know if there's somebody to call up from the Providence Bruins. Maybe you want to consider a couple of guys from Atlanta, maybe bumping them up. Got to do something to create a spark here, because a lot of people think that Boston is better than LA, at least people that watch this show. Well, the main difference, as we'll get into, I already told you that LA is 5th in their division in the Pacific, and they are 8th in the West. Well, even though Boston is 3rd in the Atlantic, they are only 2 points better, and they're in 8th in the East. They have 40 points, where the Kings have 38. So those teams are a little more even, at least in the standings, than people believe. So got to do something to get this scoring back up. I know Pasternak being healthy has a lot to do with it. Hopefully they can get him in the All-Star game if they hadn't. Tuukka Rask can't do it on his own. He can, here he is busting everything he's got. Only give up 2 goals a game. I think he's averaging a little less than that, actually, but they're still losing about half the games. So you got to do something to help Tuukka out, and we got to do something to get the scoring back up. I can't fault the guys that are scoring now. It's got to be some other guys step up, or we got to start shuffling some things around, maybe move some lines around. Who knows? But got to do something. Next topic I want to talk about is actually 2 winning streaks, and these 2 winning streaks are the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are up to 13 in a row after last night's game. Of course, that was against Boston. Once again, we'll talk about that in the third period more. And the Minnesota Wild, who have won 11 in a row, including an overtime thriller that we actually just watched a replay of right here in the studio last night against Nashville. Nashville's another good team. But let's talk about the Wild first. They have won 11 in a row now, thanks to Coyle and Eric Stahl leading the charge. And Devin Dubnyk has 18 wins, 1.58 goals against average, and a .947 save percentage. It really helps when your goalie's on fire, but the Wild are they're playing passionate hockey right now. Somebody's going to have to step in front of them. I'm not sure who that's going to be. Hopefully Boston can do that. Hopefully LA can step in front of them a little bit. We don't need some of these other teams to get hot like this. Minnesota seems like every couple years really makes a big run, but they're always sticking around. They're always seeming to be right there at the playoffs. We got to do something to them now to keep them out of that discussion. Now, as far as Columbus and their 13-game win streak, you can accredit a lot of that to Sergei Bobrovsky, the goalie, who has 22 wins, a 1.91 goals against average, and a .934 save percentage. He's standing on his head making all these saves, and he's making it so much easier on the team. He's pretty much saying, I can stop most of the shots. If you guys will put 2 or 3 in, we're going to win. And they have. And of course, leading the charge for them is Cam Atkinson, who has 35 total points, has 15 goals, and 20 assists. And you still got to give a lot of credit to the coaches. Assistant coach Brad Larson, who played in the league. A lot of you guys might remember him. And, of course, Torts, John Tortorella, the head coach. I think it has a lot to do with it. He wins everywhere he goes. He's talked about him being one of the most winning American-born coaches in the league. You got to do something about it, If not, Columbus and Minnesota are going to run wild on everybody, just like Hulkamania, I guess. And they're going to be the ones leading the charge. So we got to do something, especially in Boston. Like I said, we'll talk a little more Boston in the next period. But Boston's got to fix their scoring woes, and somebody has to slow down the Wild and the Blue Jackets because they are just explosive and they're beating everybody. But that's going to do it for period number 2. We'll see you guys shortly for period number 3. Shout out John Cena, glad you came back. Right here on BoardCheck. We'll see you in a minute. And we're back for period number 3 on BoardCheck. I'm Jeremy the Impact Gore. Welcome back. Obviously, I'm not trying to call Boston out as far as that. They know what their issues are, but got to do something about getting some other goals on the board and some other people involved in scoring, because if you just have 2 or 3 people really doing most of the goals, what happens when they stop? Exactly. We're kind of looking at that. Now, let's talk about them first. Where the Boston Bruins last Tuesday lost 4-2 versus the New York Islanders, where Bleed and Moore had the goals in that one. Thursday they won 3-1 in Florida versus the Panthers, Yager and the Panthers, where Vetrano, Bergeron, and Backus all had goals in that one. Tuukka Rask 29 saves in the victory. And Friday, the loss in overtime 3-2 in Carolina, where Spooner and Marchand had the goals in that one. See what I'm saying? It's like the same 5 or 6 guys. Now, I'm glad those 5 or 6 are scoring. We need to get some more people involved because, you lose 4-2. That's only 2 goals. That's the worst lead in hockey. And then you lose 3-2 in overtime. Hey, it happens, but one more goal would have meant probably wouldn't have went to overtime. And then also last night, they lost in Columbus as part of the win streak, as I just previously discussed, to the Blue Jackets 4-3, where Backus, Krejci, and Zarnik all were the goal scorers in that one. Now, their upcoming schedule this Thursday, just tomorrow night, they'll be in Buffalo. It's a 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start. On Saturday for New Year's Eve, they will be at home in Boston versus the Buffalo Sabres. That is a 1 p.m. kickoff for that one, so go check out some hockey and then go celebrate New Year's. And then next Monday, they will be in New Jersey against the Devils. That is a 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start. Now, even though I previously mentioned it, right now the Bruins are looking at 3rd place in the Atlantic, which is a pretty good spot. They do only have 2 more points than the LA Kings. And they're 8th in the East, just like the Kings are in the West. I think we need to really start to try to bolster and try to get some points here and there. I'm okay with as long as we can go to overtime, but we need to win more games. We need to get more of that scoring up and going. Now, I can't get out of here without talking about the Atlanta Gladiators, the hometown team from where our studio is, where last Friday they had the win 3-2 versus the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, where Ream, Backer, and Shiplow all had goals in that one. And Kent Patterson had 28 saves in the victory. Patterson's been pretty good. And then, of course, let's see. They also played last Tuesday versus the South Carolina Stingrays. That was a fantastic one as well. Upcoming schedule. Not sure why we don't have a score for that one. We'll have to get into that one. Upcoming schedule. This Thursday, which would be tomorrow, one of my favorite days of the year. They'll be in town against the Florida Everblades. That is a 7:05 puck drop on that one. And then Friday, which is going to be a really special game. Friday, they're going to be against the same Florida Everblades, 7:35 Eastern Standard Time, puck drop. And that one is going to be special because myself and a good buddy of mine, who is also a avid hockey fan and helps with this show some, will be at that game. We're going to go Friday night. We're going to be in the house at the Infinite Energy Center. That's right, the Impact is going to be there. We're going to raise all the energy levels. We're going to really make an impact down there. And you know what? I think we're on the glass. So if you see us down there, come down there, snap a picture. We'll send you some swag. So, make sure to check all that out. But that's going to do it for us this week. I appreciate you guys joining us right here on BoardCheck. I'm Jeremy the Impact York. Gladiator fans, we'll see you Friday night. Everybody else, we'll see you next week on BoardCheck.
Let's get ready to rumble! Feel the fires into the red. It's nice and only know